You are no stranger to live radio. It's how you and I first crossed paths. Now you have embarked on a solo adventure as a voiceover artist and a podcast host with something called Let's Take This Outside, hence the lead-in to this conversation. But I wonder on that piece, among all of the other superstar-like things that you do, Let's Take This Outside is something that you have come to really embrace as a life philosophy, if I may say, and it wasn't always that way for you. What kind of led you into this part of life, being outdoors and cross-country skiing and hiking and mountain biking and all of those things?
So I do want to start with the fact that I grew up on a farm in southern Ontario. So Tilbury, it's near Chatham, it's near Windsor. So I grew up on a farm. I grew up playing outside. I went to Conestoga College for radio. And at that point, I'd always kind of played team sports, but it wasn't until I was visiting my sister out west. And if you've been ever lucky enough to go to the Rocky Mountains, it is an exceptional human experience. Like, you really don't need to leave Canada to have exceptional travel experiences. I will say that right now. But I remember I hiked my first mountain out there with my sister. It was called Moose Mountain. And it kind of changed my life. I ended up doing the radio thing, and I was in Sudbury. I moved to Ottawa, and I've been in Ottawa since. And I have to say, it has to be because of their surroundings. It has to be because of the outdoor space and the trails and the nature and the connections nature, which has led to, I was going to say, this addiction, but also this podcast that I've hosted this last year, and showing the benefits and sharing that with others and encouraging others to go outside, especially over the gong show that has been the last few years of our lives. No question about it. And to that end, Marianne, what benefits have you personally derived from embracing this outdoor enthusiast lifestyle? Well, I'm going to give you a very quick example because you already mentioned it you mentioned last week in the hazardous air quality. I know it got pretty bad down there, but we are, Ottawa's right underneath Quebec. Our air quality, because the scale was at a 10 for air quality, and it was like 29 out of 10 here. I don't even know what that means, Mike. Like, what is that? I have no idea. The scale's 10. Yeah. I don't know what that means, other than the fact that, we had to keep our windows closed, we had to keep our doors closed. And that smell, you said barbecue, like that campfire smell, but it's not a campfire smell that you're like, I'm enjoying my life. It's a campfire smell like, oh, the woods are burning down and climate change, right? So it's a different feeling, little existential, right? I will say that for those 2 days where the air was hazardous to breathe, I was not doing well mentally. I will tell you that right now. It was like, that will give you kind of an idea. I do go outside pretty much every day, at least for a walk, some kind of connection. But I will say mental health through the pandemic, mental health the last, 10, 15 years has been above and beyond. There are way too many studies to show how much it benefits our memory, our thought process, our creativity. Like, I would say that the mental benefits even are on par with the physical benefits when it comes to getting fresh air. But I would say for me, it has been absolutely, it has been everything that I've needed to get through the last few years. You talk on your podcast, Let's Take This Outside, with people who are very much like you. They are adventure athletes. They are outdoor enthusiasts, perhaps to the extreme. But in talking to these people and hearing their stories, are there themes that emerge for you, Marianne, commonalities between people who do these sorts of things and how they feel mentally and physically, or the kind of person perhaps that they are? It could be a world-class ice climber like Will Gadd I just spoke to, or it could be a mountain biker, or it could be a professional athlete or a former Olympian. And all these people have in common, even the scientists that I speak to, what they all have in common is that it's essential for their mental health, like I just said, to get outdoors. They know they feel better. And you don't realize it until you do spend a lot of time outside. And then you're inside. You don't actually realize how beneficial it is until it's part of your regular daily routine, right? I think, a lot of people took up walking through the pandemic, right? And like, I don't think you need much more than that. I'm not a fitness expert by any means, but I think even just going for a walk, whether you're living in the suburbs or downtown, there is nature everywhere. It could just be like that bush or that tree or that small little park. There's nature everywhere that we can explore no matter where you are in Ontario.
That's such a great point. And I don't know about you. Again, I'm not going to claim to be an expert at all, but I remember reading sometime in the past year, it was a great long read in my weekend paper about being outside and all of the benefits that come with it. And I just found myself asking, and maybe I'm sure you could relate to this given how much time you spend outside, and especially because you know a little bit about this radio life too. Come to work, go into the studio, do your job. Do you ever think that we've got this, like, we're kind of doing it wrong, aren't we? What are we doing inside so much of the day?
I don't know if it's supernatural for us. I think we're so comfortable now.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think, this work from home, like I do everything in my second bedroom. Like I work from home now, right? I don't have any coworkers. I just work for myself. I'm working in the closet. Well, not anymore, but I was working in my closet before, and it's suffocating. It's absolutely suffocating. So that's why I think, especially if you work from home, I think it's important even just to pop your head out the door for a little bit. Go for that midday walk, even if it's 10 minutes. Anything counts. And my whole point, and the whole point of my podcast, is to promote that the outdoors is for everyone, and it is accessible for everyone.
What's it been like for you moving into this space, the podcasting space, from the broadcasting space? Tell me, is there life on the other side, Marianne? I'm asking quietly.
Well, I am still doing some contract radio work, so I will say that. But podcasting, it's very different. Like I used to work in different formats, but podcasting. Hey, don't you have a podcast?
I kind of do.
I was like, but I have to say that it feels very selfish. I will say that podcasting feels very selfish because it's so niche and so specific to what I like. Right? That it feels selfish to do it. That I'm like, oh, I'm just talking to other outdoor nerds about outdoor nerd stuff. Like, right? So that's what it feels.
Actually, that's such a perfect description because I'm talking to other OHL fans about OHL geeky stuff.
Right.
Right.
But that is where, like, you and I actually kind of talked in the last few months about podcasting pretty in depth. So it was really nice to catch up with you. But that is where, also, where you can make money, but that is why people consume podcasts, is that niche, right? Not to, like, I'm not putting anything against radio because we're currently on the radio, but podcasting is where you find the niche. I think they're two very different mediums, even though they're both in audio.
Yeah, it makes I think they actually complement one another pretty well right now. What I love as the guy that's still clinging to his last bit of grip on AM talk radio, but people still... Marianne, they want audio. They want to hear stories.
There's nothing better. Like, I know I love hearing nature. Like, hearing nature is a part of it. But one of my favorite parts of the week is just, like, popping in a podcast and going for a walk. And, it's just one of the best parts of my day is doing that.
So other than on a trail somewhere year round, I mean, winter, spring, summer, fall, you're out there either on skis, on wheels, on foot, whatever. Yeah. Other than finding you there, where can we find your work and your podcast and all of those other great things?
Sure. So I would just direct you to my podcast, Let's Take This Outside. So it's let'sttakethisoutside.ca is the website. You can find me on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can find me on social media too. Let's Take This Outside as well. You can find my personal one. But thank you so much for letting me share. And honestly, again, the outdoors is for everyone, and getting that fresh air is beneficial. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point.
Yeah, but that's the thing about it. Like, you talk about talking to other people who geek out over outdoor stuff like you do, other outdoor nerds, but you have lived what you're talking about and realized in your own life the benefits of taking it outside.
Yeah, you don't have to be an Olympic athlete to enjoy the outdoors. Sometimes you just have to learn and get a few bruises along the way, but playing outside, there's no better feeling when you're an adult and you're like, oh yeah, I can be a kid again. This is super fun, right?
I love it. Marianne, thank you so much for joining the show today. It's great to have a chat with you, and let's do it again sometime.
Yes, please. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Marianne Iveson is the host of the podcast, Let's Take This Outside. You can check out more at letstakethisoutside.ca.